Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Sam. I hope all of you are doing well today. We got some fresh iPhone rumors that we got to talk about. First off, we got some fresh info on the camera systems for the 2019 iPhones, and then going into 2020, because sources already know stuff about those phones, Apple may be apparently rebooting the iPhone 8 with fresh internals on the inside. If you're excited for this video, as always, drop a like down below. It seriously helps me out, and hit subscribe so you stay up to date on all the latest Apple news. Now let's go ahead and start talking, because we haven't been doing that before. It doesn't even make sense. So I want to start this video out by showing you sort of our general ideas for the 2019 iPhone so far. If you want to pause this and you can really look at it, I don't want to jump into every single rumor in this video, but overall, these are the features phone by phone that we're currently expecting, and today's report from very well-respected Apple analyst Min-Chi Kuo affirms a lot of what we've been hearing, but also gives us some info that we've never heard before about the front-facing camera system, and also how Apple may be planning to update the back camera system so it's perhaps not as ugly, arguably. So for the iPhone XR, the second-gen version of that, Kuo reaffirms his belief that there will be 2 cameras on that phone this year. So any iPhone, it sounds like, that you buy in 2019 will at minimum have 2 cameras. If you go up to the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 11 Max with the 5.8 or 6.5 inch OLED screens respectively, that's where Kuo says you'll be getting the triple camera setup. And that's obviously what I think most of us are interested in. It's also something that most of us kind of feel a certain way about. Now, I keep saying this, that I don't think it looks that bad. I think it's gonna be okay. I feel like this is one of those things where it looks weird when we see it in rumored form, but when Apple creates a concept video or their official unveil for it, everybody's gonna go, oh my gosh, it looks so good. Because that just seems to happen every year. I mean, remember back to when the iPhone got a double camera setup and it was vertical. At first, everyone, oh my gosh, I can't buy an iPhone, it's too ugly. And then 30 seconds later, we just got used to it. It's just the way it goes. I think it's gonna be good. We also get some fresh info on the front-facing camera system in this report. So this is actually good news, whether you buy the 2019 second generation iPhone XR, the iPhone 11, or the iPhone 11 Max, you will be getting an updated true depth camera system. Now, we heard historically the entire unit could be smaller, leading Apple to implement a smaller notch, which is something that I think the iPhone needs. It's gonna look so outdated if Apple keeps the wide notch that we've had since 2017. That needs to go. But either way, the front-facing camera is getting a really significant upgrade this year, actually, jumping from a measly, of course, because we could never have 7 megapixels only in 2019, to 12 megapixels, also going from a 4-element lens to a 5-element lens. So hopefully that means it will be more complex, be able to take better selfies, and obviously a jump from 7 megapixels to 12 megapixels is going to be noticeable. It's not going to be that 0.1 megapixel upgrade or something minor. Selfies are going to get a serious upgrade, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that means Face ID will improve as well, being more reliable, more secure, and hopefully quicker. I think that there's one pain point for Face ID as well. It's that scanning your face and swiping up still isn't as quick as just putting your finger on a fingerprint sensor, hardware-wise, and getting into the phone. Hopefully, Apple can fix that this year. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the reason this report means something, and it's not just your average, little iPhone update. We're hearing for the first time ever that Apple is going to try and mask some of the camera elements on this phone using a special, tinted black coating. I would assume it'd be the same idea where if you see tinted windows, you can't see through it and it sort of just looks like flush or like a deep black color, where if you look at the iPhone lens right now, you can look inside and obviously see the camera element there. So OnLeaks over on Twitter, who initially gave us this mock-up of what the 2019 iPhone 11 at least is going to look like, but basically says it doesn't make sense for Apple to do this because apparently the front-facing cameras would be tinted, and then also the right ultra-wide angle lens. That's the third one, the third 12 megapixel sensor, or I think 14 we're hearing, that Apple is going to be adding this year. So even if the right one only is tinted, I don't exactly know if this looks better. What do you guys think? For everybody that has been hating on the lens, let me know down below, is this better? If Apple tints one of the lenses to make it look like this, would you be more apt to buy the phone? Would you be more excited to buy the phone? Or do you think this looks every bit as ugly, if not uglier, than it did before? Vote up here in one of the corners of the screen, and also let me know down below, because, I don't know, I feel like it could look better based on the angle, but overall, it largely looks the same to me. Now, where I think this does make sense is also where Kuo says it's going to happen, which is on the front-facing camera systems. If Apple tints the front true depth camera system, it would make sense because that's what you look at. You look at the front of the phone when you use it. Never are you really looking at the back of your phone unless you're making YouTube videos or like reviewing the device, when arguably the back of the phone doesn't really matter as long as it takes good photos and like works. Also, I am happy to hear that Apple is planning to go wide angle with a 12 megapixel camera sensor here, because I know some phones have just done like a more increased zoom. So it looks like we'll have one standard angle, one closer like telephoto lens where it'll have increased zoom, and then one third ultra wide angle lens. So you'll be able to get maybe some cooler angles and cooler photos than you've ever been able to on an iPhone before. Now, while a lot of the details in the first report here seem feasible, you know, they make some amount of sense, Economic Daily News comes out a few days ago and just says, yeah, in 2020, Apple's going to be reintroducing the iPhone 8. It's going to have a 4.7-inch screen, and then goes on to list some other interesting specs, like a price point around $649, A13 processor on the inside, with 128 gigabytes of internal storage right off the bat. Now, let's be clear here, guys. Economic Daily News probably has a track record as good as the horse with a broken leg that's going around the track. Like, it might make it around the track, but the horse might also trip and fall and die along the way. Like, I feel like this is very 50-50. Economic Daily News is a source that I'm very, on, if you guys know what I'm saying. You know, you feel that way about certain sources or certain bits of news that you read. I would treat this with heavy skepticism, also because we're not even halfway through 2019, and then it claims this phone will be coming out in March of 2020. That's when I think a new iPad Pro would be expected to be announced, and probably, if Apple pushes them back, new AirPods, if we don't see them in September of this year. The only market that I could understand for this phone really is somebody who doesn't want an edge-to-edge display, but I also feel like most of the population is just cool with that idea now. There are some people who want that smaller and easier to handle 4.7-inch screen, but I don't know. I mean, to me, that is objectively worse than an all-screen design. I like having the screen go from this edge to that edge, and hopefully one day the notch will be on entirely. I'm not exactly ever going to want to go back, but then again, maybe I'm not the target market for this phone. Maybe this phone is for people that have been resistant to upgrade to newer iPhones. Apple's noticed that, and to make sure they're still selling iPhones at a decent rate, they're going to introduce a spec-bumped iPhone. I can't get excited about the iPhone 8 with better internals. We've already seen that, and I don't know if that's what people want. If it's something you want, let me know down below, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as always. But just something I wanted to throw out there, some interesting ideas. Those are all the updates that I have for you in this video. If you're looking forward to this year's iPhones, drop a like down below, hit subscribe so you stay up to date and don't miss a beat. I've been Sam. I hope all of you are doing well, and I'll see you all in my next video, of course.